Alright guys, we are gonna be reacting to why German war graves are dark, the hidden symbolism. Let's jump in. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, huh? Help me out to get to the 10,000 subscribers. We're getting close.
I want to ask you a question.
Wow.
Have you ever been to a German war cemetery?
Nope.
And if you have been, have you ever noticed anything different about them? Walk into an American or Commonwealth war cemetery, and the message feels unmistakable. You see endless rows of bright uniform headstones. In American cemeteries, they're white marble crosses and stars of David. While in the Commonwealth cemeteries, the headstones are light stone, often Portland stone, set in precise lines. The grass is always perfectly manicured. The lines are perfect. It can feel like honor. It can feel like victory. But step into a German war cemetery, sometimes just miles down the road, and the mood instantly changes. The markers aren't bright.
Wow.
Sometimes they're in dark granite or rough volcanic stone. The atmosphere isn't heroic. It's heavy. It's quiet, sometimes surrounded by the surrounding landscape. For decades, people have asked themselves the question, why are German cemeteries this way? Is it a badge of disgrace from the victors, forced upon them? Or is it deliberately so dark by design, a way for the nation to deal with the mass reckoning that they caused upon Europe? Either way, I'm going to dive into this topic today, and if you stick around to the end of the video, you'll know why German cemeteries look the way they do.
Okay, let's see.
Throughout the years, there's been many myths and rumors surrounding German war cemeteries and why they look the way that they do. But I want to kill one of the most common rumors right off the bat. And that's that after the First World War and the Entente forces were victorious against the Germans and made them, in the German eyes, sign a very degrading treaty, the Treaty of Versailles.
Yeah, the Treaty of Versailles, which when you look back, it was not a good deal, man. It was not a good deal. Personally, I think this is what caused World War II.
From using
my opinion. Let me know what you guys think.
Marble for their war dead. That such colors should be reserved for victorious nations and not of the Germans. It makes for a very dramatic story, but it's false. If you review the Treaty of Versailles, you'll find that it talks about respecting and maintaining these war graves, about recognizing the organizations that maintain them. But what you won't find there is specific specifications of how the stones, the markers for the war dead, should look. So if there wasn't a ban about the color of the stone, then where did these dark crosses come from? A documented example shows that those wooden crosses were first darkened by a preservative to help preserve them, and protect them from the weather and decay. Over time, what began as practical preservation became familiar and then permanent. A look tied to the mourning, not a spectacle.
Okay.
That look was shaped and standardized by an organization founded in 1919, the German Volksbund, which is responsible for maintaining German war graves not only in Germany, but abroad. The Volksbund's goal wasn't for these cemeteries to become a monument in the first place. Their goal was for a respectful way to mourn the dead, but also let these cemeteries blend in with nature that surrounded them. For example, I've been to several different German war cemeteries throughout Europe, including Germany, Czech Republic, Belgium, and in France. One of the cemeteries that I've been to that I want to highlight has a unique contrast to itself. And that's because it was formed during the war, was originally used for soldiers who were wounded and died in hospital, or civilians who died during air raids. And there you can see the difference. The crosses that were 1939 up to about 1944 were kind of displayed there in a more glorious manner. Then there's the section 2 of that cemetery that was formed during the later years of the war, during those chaotic years. And it seems more like a mass grave because that's what it is. And there you have the common trend that you'll see in German cemeteries today. One stone with multiple names. Or another example, look
and why
at the
is that?
German war
Why do you have one stone with multiple names? What does that mean with that? Probably lack of resources, maybe?
cemetery in the Czech Republic in Cheb. It's actually the newest German war cemetery to be formed after the war in the Czech Republic, and it contains over 6,000 German war dead. And there, you go through the cemetery and you'll see rows of these dark crosses with multiple names on both sides. And between each plot, you'll see these bronze stones with names of those soldiers who they couldn't identify their bodies, but they knew that they were there. Cheb is a sad example. Some of the remains were scattered throughout the Czech Republic, while others were stored in depots because they didn't know where to put them. And eventually, in around 2006, the Czech government and the German government came together and formed this cemetery there and laid them out together, for they would have a final resting place.
Wow.
But it's a common trend. When you walk through here, you don't see glorious white marble. You see sadness. You instantly feel the depression, the sadness of the moment. And that's exactly what they're trying to cover by design.
That means there's a lot of spirits and a lot of ghosts in that graveyard. A lot of ghosts and a lot of paranormal activity, right? Probably. Let me know in the comment section below, but I think that's what it is. They probably have a lot of paranormal activity in those areas.
Another unique aspect to the cemetery in Cheb is those soldiers who were buried in a communal grave have their names listed on a metal book where you can turn the pages and just read the countless names of wasted lives. The design isn't about individual glory. It's about documentation. It's about dignity. It's about the lives that were forced to fight for a regime that sent them to die.
Damn.
But nowhere does the silence by design hit you harder than the war cemeteries near the battlefields where these men died. Let's take an example, the German war cemetery of Ragon, just outside of the village of Foy. You might recognize that name Foy if you've seen Band of Brothers. It's that scene where Easy Company comes out of the Bourg Jacques and attacks the town, and Lieutenant Ronald Spears does his dash through the town. The cemetery contains 6,807 German war dead. And even the markers tell a story. Sources describe that the crosses were originally concrete, later replaced by natural stone crosses as the site was later developed. And then there's Sandweiler German War Cemetery in Luxembourg, which was actually the first German war cemetery to be established after the war outside of Germany. See, in the 1950s, there was a war graves treaty between West Germany and Luxembourg that allowed the cemetery to be established. I also have a video coming out about that cemetery soon, so make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. The dead of Sandweiler come largely from the fighting of the winter of 1944 through 1945 during the Battle of the Bulge and later reburials. But the cemetery itself was laid out by the Volksbund in the 1950s and opened to the public on the 5th of June, 1955.
Wow.
It holds 10,000.
Yo, you can. I mean, he's not lying though. You can see, and you can appreciate the heaviness of the area. That's heavy. It's just a bunch of crosses, and they're dark. Oh man, I cannot imagine you being alone at 2 in the morning in this place, man.
It has details like the Kameraden graves, the communal graves, that underline what you're standing in front of is thousands of soldiers buried together with known names listed, but unknown remains. So to go back to our original question, why do German cemeteries look the way that they do? It's not because any rule forces them to look this way. It's by design. These cemeteries are a memorial to the true cost of war. They look this way not because of a rule, but because it's deliberate, because of the choices that the Volksbund made. The choices about restraint, about refusing to triumph, about the final word. The final word of these war dead who are laying here as a memorial to the true cost of war. It's not about glorification. It's not about victory. It's about dignity. It's about documentation. It's about remembering the dead without glorifying the cause that they fought for. So that brings us to an end of this video today about why German cemeteries look the way that they do. If you felt like you learned something, stick around and subscribe to the channel. I have other videos about cemeteries where I go through them and actually check them out, looking at stories of individual soldiers who fell, and I try to tell those stories, whether it be from Allied cemeteries or German ones. I also like to tell other history stories, so if you're interested in that kind of stuff, Make sure you stick around.
That man, that's very interesting. See, you always learn some new stuff. I didn't know that, and in Germany they were so meticulous with some of the meanings behind some of these type of actions. I mean, in this case, war, of course. Wow, these cemeteries, man, those crosses, they look heavy as hell, man. Heavy. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know if he's telling the truth. I don't even know. I would love to hear you guys' opinions. I will see you next one.